All right, Louie, you want to get started? We'll keep an eye on participants coming in, but
Sure. So thanks everybody for showing up. For those of you, I don't know how many of you were on this call that were on our last call, but the last flip the switch we did, this is a joint effort between my Lori Parrish, John Kennedy, and myself. And it's really about mindset, communication, and business philosophy and strategies. And so it's a great way to help you grow your business for productivity, proficiency, and profit, the three P's. And what we thought we would do for the next three that we're going to host is we're going to let each one of us. This week it's going to be John, and I'm actually really excited because I've actually brought John in to speak at some other events that I've been at, and I've never been able to actually spend time listening to John speak. So I'm actually really excited to have him have the majority of the time today. But John's going to teach us on some mindset stuff, and then next week Lori's going to do one on communication, and then after that I'm going to do one on business strategy. So without further ado, thanks again for coming. And Nicole, if you do us a favor and read John's intro or bio, and we'll get started.
I would love to. Thank you, Louie. So, I know we've all been on these Zooms, so we kind of know the maintenance of it all. Excuse my family, but just if you can keep yourself muted, if you have crazy kids in the background or dogs or whatever, while John is doing his presentation, we'd love to see your face. I know that he'll be sharing, but once he's not, we'd love to see you guys. Make this as interactive of an hour and 15 as we can. So, now, for John Kennedy, John has created the world's first targeted neuroplasticity training program in 2007 at the request of the U.S. Marines. John's proprietary program has helped thousands of people improve their performance, including Navy SEALs, snipers, pilots, professional athletes, and high-performing business people. His exercises target the processes critical to execute function and working memory, making the decision-making process much faster and more accurate. Today, John is going to discuss how the power of process and combat brain training can help you exceed your performance expectations in your business and in your life. John is going to pack a ton of content into our time together today. He's also going to do an exercise that he's going to ask all of us to unmute and show our beautiful faces, if possible. So without further ado, I am happy to present to you John Kennedy.
Thanks, everybody. First, I want to just say how excited I am to be doing this with Louie and Lori. So this is the first of three they mentioned, and we're going to kind of be steering you to a full day workshop conference we're going to be doing in January. And it's going to be a phenomenal way to start off 2021 as we try to put 2020 behind us. So the first thing I want to do is I want to address this really to you guys as you are entrepreneurs, business owners, and business people. So you can probably relate to this, right? You have so many things on your plate. You're constantly juggling. In fact, if you want to put in a text some of the things you have to juggle. Oh, thank you. Let me. Why is this working? Display settings. Okay. Let's try that. How about that? Is that better? Um, so basically, if you want to put in the text some of the things that you are struggling with, right? I mean, you've got now during COVID, you've got family at home, you've got work deadlines, you've got a balance. If you're an entrepreneur, you also have to run your business. So there are a lot of things going on in your life you're trying to juggle just to get ahead. And as you know, everything that you do really comes down to your brain. How well your brain can process this information makes a huge difference. In fact, you are pretty much the quarterback of your life. You've got teammates, you've got opposition, you've got competitors, you've got people that you have to compete with constantly. And if you think about that, it's almost kind of like your computer, right? So your computer, you're all kinds of different applications that you're trying to work at the same time. And you know what happens? You add more applications, you start using more bandwidth, more processing, everything starts to slow down. And sometimes your computer can feel overwhelmed the same way you can. But we know that with the computer, speed is good, right? If we get a new processor in your computer, everything that the computer does goes better. And it's the same thing with your brain. Just think about what it would be like if your brain were faster, if it were faster and more focused. How much more could you get done in the same amount of time? Well, and maybe you've tried that. Maybe you recognize that. There's a lot of different programs out there, Lumosity, Cogmed. Perhaps if you have Nintendo, you've tried Brain Age. There's a lot of programs out there that promise to make your brain faster. Maybe you've even tried some of these. Unfortunately, they don't work. The reason they don't work, and there have been years and years of research about this. There's a paper by 20 leading neuroscientists saying they don't work. They don't work because they don't interface with the real world. And so you'll always get better on the programs, but you won't get better in real life. And that's where it counts. What counts is how well we do in real life, not on a game. So maybe you've also tried books. There's some amazing books out there. You're probably a reader if you're trying to get ahead. Be a Bees, Flow, all about how you can improve the performance of your brain. The problem is it takes time to try all these things, right? You can read all the books you want, but for that to actually filter down into your brain to actually be useful, it takes too much time. So trying is very difficult. And to quote one of the wisest persons that ever lived, Yoda, right? Try not, do or do not. There is no try, there's only do. So I want to spend as much time as we have today, giving you just a little piece of what doing looks like. If we can actually make your brain faster in a very short amount of time, you can start to cut through all those things that you have going on in your life. So let's do and not try. Okay, so for this exercise, I'm going to ask you all to unmute yourself and show your screen. And this is the first exercise. This is what we're going to use. So we're going to need you to open up your screen and your microphone if you can, so we can hear you and see you. So, sorry, Nicole and Jessica, you're on the side. So basically, this is the exercise that we developed for the Marine Corps 13 years ago now, and it's been used by Navy SEALs and professional athletes and top business performers. But as you notice, it's very, very simple, right? It's just some arrows on a piece of paper. Why arrows on a sheet of paper? Because we want it to be simple and we want it to be fast. What we want your brain to be able to do is to make decisions faster with better focus. And so the simplest symbol that requires a decision is an arrow. When you look at that arrow, you typically define it by what direction it's pointing, up, down, left, or right. Now it also has colors. So if it has a color, now you can make a completely different decision off the same data set. And so what I want you all to do now is to look at the arrow in the upper left-hand corner. And I want you to all out loud tell me what direction it's pointing.
Right.
Right.
Okay, and what color is it?
Red.
Red.
All right, you guys all passed the first test. You all have a brain, and we can now proceed. But in order to do that, you had to filter out all the arrows except the one I asked you for. And you had to think through what I was asking you, which was direction. You executed on direction. When I asked you for color, you executed on color. So you just use the basic thinking process that underlies everything we do. Break it down, think it through, and execute. Right? So there's so much data coming into our brains constantly, we can't even process it all. But our ability to break it down into different components, think through what we want to do with it, and then execute with it is what determines our success, which is exactly what you just did. And the reason I asked you to say it out loud was because, remember, we want to interface with the real world. The initial research that our program was based on came out of MIT, and it said with robust stimulation, which stimulates all parts of the brain simultaneously, your brain will start to change almost immediately, which is exactly what we needed for the Marines and exactly what we want to happen for you. And also because we're optimizing our central nervous system, executive function processes, and peripheral nervous system, our eyes, ears, and mouth, we're actually making those connections faster and stronger as well. That's why we want you to get real world performance, not just on a game. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little baseline here. And I do this with everybody, every group, every person. I'm going to time you. And what I'm going to ask you all to do is to read off all the arrows on that page, just like you're reading a book. So left to right, left to right, left to right. Only the directions though. So right, left, down, up would be the first four. Go through that whole page, only the directions. And when I say go, I want you to go as fast as you can. And when you get to the end, just raise your hand. We're going to make it a race because real life, there's always pressure, right? We have pressure to try to succeed fast.
So are we saying this out loud, John, or are we in our head?
Yeah, no, out loud. Thanks, Louie. Yes, definitely out loud, right? We want to train your brain out loud. But that also means is you're going to have to tune out everybody else. Right? So this is kind of like real life, right? There's all these distractions coming into us. We have to tune out everybody else as we say all the arrows. So only the directions, fast as you can, the whole page. On your mark, get set, go.
Right, left, down, up, right, up, right, down, right, up, down, left, left, down, left, down, left, down, right, down, up, right, down, right, up, left, 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 down, right, left, up, right, down, left, up, left, down, up, left,
left,
up, down, left,
right,
down, left,
down, up,
up,
right, left, up,
right,
right, up,
right,
right,
down,
left, up, left,
down,
right,
down, right,
up, down, up, right,
down, left,
down, right,
down, right,
left, down, right, up, left, right, down, left, up, right, left, up,
right,
up, left, down, up, left, down, left, up,
right,
down, left, right, up, right, down, up.
left,
down. Louie cheated.
Is that everybody? So maybe some of you stopped it before the end, but still, that's hard, right? Because you get everybody around saying different things. We got a nice range though. So the fastest, so Lisa 59 seconds, and then at the end when no one was talking more was 115. So that's a pretty normal range. But as you notice, it's hard to stay focused with all these things going on around you. But now we actually want to do some training. We want to do some brain training to see if we can make any improvements, and we want to see if we can make improvements fast. So this is the half page. We're only working with 4 columns this time while we get started, and we're going to start adding different components of executive function. Now, one of the very important ones, and this is really the impetus for the program with the Marines, was to create what we call anticipation, which is really another name for intuition. The goal was if we can improve intuition, we could save more lives. And so the critical component for that is your brain anticipating that something different is coming and being primed for it. We call it cognitively primed anticipation. So we're going to do this very simple. We're going to add color in here because color is a different part of your brain that uses then direction. We're going to make those connections faster. And so the pattern we're going to do is direction, 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 color. So right, left, down, blue is the first row. And unlike before when we made it a race, this time I want you to try to do it together in the same rhythm. Now, a couple of things about that. One, it's going to be kind of hard, right? Because your tendency is to listen to other people. We don't want you to listen. We want you to say what you see. Very important for confidence. 2, we want you to try to stay in rhythm with everybody else. Very important for teamwork. And most importantly, you can't stop to correct if you make a mistake because you'll throw everybody else off. One of the important things we need to learn in life is it's okay to make mistakes, right? Especially when you're working with a team. Because if you stop to figure out what went wrong, we've all experienced this in project teams, right? Someone makes a mistake, they go figure out what went wrong, and we all lose momentum. The goal here is momentum, all in sync. So I'll say the first row with you guys to get you started. And after a couple of rows, it'll get much easier because you want to listen to everybody else when they talk, but not necessarily what they say. Okay, any questions? Okay, let's go. I'll lead us off with the first row. Right,
left, down, blue,
Down,
down, right, up, green,
Here we go.
down,
Down,
left, down, red, right, up,
up,
left,
left,
red,
red,
left, up, yellow, up,
left,
left,
down, blue,
good.
right, up, right,
red,
red, left,
left,
down, left, green, up,
up,
right, up, yellow, left, down, red, down, up, right, blue,
left,
left,
down,
down, yellow,
right,
right, down, red, left, up, right, blue,
blue,
up, down, left, green, down, up, right,
red.
All right, good, good. Hey, Joyce, glad you could join us. You've seen some of this before. We're actually just doing what the pattern that's on the screen. And yeah, go ahead. There you go. Go ahead and open your camera. Nice, great. Glad you could join us. So what you guys experience is a little different than if you did this on your own, right? Because you have a whole team that you got to keep moving. You guys did a nice job of getting in sync towards the end, right? And you did it very well. Direction, direction, direction. Color, I didn't see anybody try to correct themselves, so that was good. The next part of executive function we want to work is pattern recognition. Pattern recognition is huge for us, right? The quicker we can pick up a pattern, the quicker we can make adjustments, especially our own. And you're going to learn some of this with Lori when she talks about conversations. I mean, the quicker you can pick up the things you shouldn't be saying, and the quicker you can get to the pattern of the things you are to say, much more effective. And so we want to train your brain to recognize patterns in conversations, in sports, whatever you're doing. So to do this, very, very simple pattern. We're just going to go direction, color, direction, color. Okay, so direction, color, direction, color. This will also improve your memory because if you say direction, you know you have to say color next and vice versa. So again, all together like you did, don't stop for mistakes and just get all the way down through the page. And I'll start you with the first row. Ready? Let's go. Right,
yellow, down, blue, down, red, up, green, down, yellow, down, red,
right,
blue,
left,
red,
left,
green, up,
Yellow.
up, yellow, down,
blue,
right,
green,
right,
red,
left,
blue,
left,
green,
up,
right,
yellow,
oh, yellow,
up, yellow,
yellow,
left, red,
red,
down,
Red.
down,
green,
right, blue, left, blue, down,
yellow,
right,
yellow,
down,
red, left,
green,
green, right,
blue, up, green,
green,
left, green, down, green, right,
right,
red.
All right, excellent, excellent. So let's just say the last two rows, only the last two rows again, and just push yourself a little faster. Okay, because we're trying to get these down in your unconscious as you pick up the pattern. So the last two rows, when I say go, Try to stay together, but just a little bit faster. Direction,
Okay.
color, direction, color. Ready and go.
Up,
green,
left, green,
green,
down, green, right, red.
Nice, nice. Now you notice that that was a little bit harder than the last one, right? Even though it was a simple pattern, one of the reasons for that is in order to do this, you have to focus, right? If you notice, if you made a mistake, it's because you lost focus. So one of the most powerful benefits of this program is it's definitely going to improve your focus, not because you're consciously trying to focus. All you're doing consciously is just telling your brain to say these silly arrows, right? But in order to do them correctly, you have to focus. So you're going to notice your focus start to improve as well. So one more part of executive function we want to bring in here, and that's working memory, holding something in your short-term memory and then executing on it. So for this, I want you to go through the whole page. And this time I'll let you guys start off a little bit faster, but we want to translate the colors to fruit. And you have to remember the translations. So red is apple, yellow is banana, green is lime, and blue is blueberry. You won't need to write these down because after a few rows, you'll remember. Remember, it's okay to make a mistake, right? I mean, I trained a French tennis team and they insisted that apples were green. No, they have to do this one, apple is red, and here green is lime. So apple, banana, lime, blueberry, and go all together.
Apple, banana, lime, blueberry,
Lime,
lime,
apple, lime,
lime,
lime, blueberry, banana, lime,
apple, blueberry,
banana,
apple,
banana, lime,
Blueberry.
banana,
Good.
blueberry, banana,
lime, blueberry, apple,
lime,
apple,
apple,
banana,
blueberry,
banana,
lime,
lime,
banana,
blueberry,
blueberry,
banana,
apple,
apple,
lime,
apple,
blueberry,
lime,
banana,
blueberry,
banana, blueberry, lime, banana, apple, banana,
blueberry,
apple,
lime,
banana,
blueberry,
lime, apple, lime, blueberry, lime, banana, apple.
All right, very good. Friends are going to be hungry after this, right? Good job. All right, now we want to start combining the different components of executive function. And for this one, we want to combine that memory piece with the anticipation piece. So the first one we did was direction, 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 color. This time we want to do direction, 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 fruit. So right, left, down, blueberry is the first row. Okay, so guys, go ahead and do that. Go a little bit faster if you can and start and stay all together like you've been doing.
right,
Right.
left, down, blueberry, down, right, up,
Lime.
down, left, down, apple,
Apple,
right, left, apple,
left,
up,
up,
banana,
banana,
up, left,
left,
down,
down,
blueberry,
berry,
right, up, right, apple, left, down, left, lime, up, right, up, banana, left, down, apple,
apple,
up, right, blueberry, left,
down,
banana,
banana,
right,
Right.
down, apple, apple,
apple,
left, up, right,
right,
blueberry,
blueberry,
up,
up,
down,
down,
left, lime,
lime,
down,
down,
up, right,
right,
apple.
Nice, nice. Now, I don't know if you guys could notice it yourself, but I could hear it. You actually did that smoother than when the color was at the end. And that's because we're tricking your brain here. When it's the color, it's just a different variable. But when it's the fruit, your brain has to look ahead, see the color, translate it to fruit, and then execute on it, which means that it starts to offload the regular arrows. That's exactly what we want to create. This is actually how we create flow state, which is being in the zone. Right? One of our neuroscientists say that we do these exercises, we're actually optimizing system 1 thinking, which is fast and unconscious, and system 2 thinking, which is slow and conscious. And when you're kind of optimizing them together, you're kind of skating along the top. And so what you started to create there was you weren't thinking about the regular directions, you were focused on the translation, and your brain was doing it nice and smoothly. So let's add one more. Let's add our color back in now to make a little bit harder pattern. So keep the fruit at the end. We'll put the color in the second column.
Ooh.
So direction, color, direction, fruit. Okay. Direction, color, direction, fruit. Everybody ready? And go.
Right,
yellow,
down,
down,
blueberry,
blueberry,
down,
red,
red,
up,
up,
lime,
lime,
down,
down,
yellow,
yellow,
down, apple,
apple,
right,
blue,
blue,
left,
left,
apple,
apple,
left, green,
green,
up,
up,
banana,
banana,
up,
up,
yellow,
yellow,
down,
down,
blueberry,
blueberry,
right,
right,
green,
green,
right, apple,
apple,
left, blue,
blue,
left,
lime,
up,
up,
yellow, up, banana,
banana,
red, down,
down,
apple, down,
down,
green,
green,
right,
blueberry,
blueberry,
left,
left,
blue,
blue,
down,
down,
banana,
banana,
right,
right,
yellow,
yellow,
down,
down,
apple,
apple,
left, green,
green,
right,
right,
lime,
blueberry,
blueberry,
up,
up, down,
green,
left,
lime,
lime,
down,
down,
green,
green, right, apple.
Nice job. Nice. I know that was hard, right? That was hard. But I told you your brain will change fast, right? If we'd started with that one, you guys would have said you had another meeting to go to or something, right? Because it was hard, but because every time we make your brain work a little bit harder, it changes. Now, one of the ways our brains change, it's kind of like lifting weights, right? 5, 10, 15, pretty soon maybe you can curl a 25-pound weight. Ryan, maybe you can, I can't. But eventually it gets easy because the weight feels lighter, even though it's the same weight, because your body's stronger. Your brain's the same way. When your brain changes to be faster and stronger, things that were hard become easy. Now, unlike the muscles that increase fiber size, the way our brains change from the stimulation is they increase what are called postsynaptic receptors. All that means is there's more neurotransmitters being picked up on the other side of the synapse when you're thinking. And so it's like, you know, on your internet, when you go from dial-up to DSL or cable, that's a huge difference because there's a lot more data flowing through in the same amount of time. And these are the changes that start to happen immediately, and they start to solidify in as little as 20 minutes. So you will leave with a different brain when we're done than when you started. So that was just a little bit of a sign of that. We're going to do something a little bit different now. We're going to add the anticipation piece to our pattern. So open the page, or let me open the page up all the way here, back to this. Okay, so we have the crease down the middle. But what we're going to do now is we're going to spread this out. So we'll go 3 directions and a color, 3 directions and a fruit.
Ooh.
So direction, 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 color, direction, 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 fruit. So you have to remember the color and fruit. You got to get your timing down, and you have to use that anticipation as you prepare for it. Okay, any questions? I'm gonna go down the whole page. Ready and go.
Right,
Right,
left,
Left,
down,
down,
blue,
blue,
up,
up,
right,
right,
up,
up,
banana,
down,
down, right,
right,
up,
up,
green,
green,
Green.
left,
left,
left, down, apple,
Apple.
down,
left,
left, down, red,
red,
down, up,
up,
right, blueberry,
blueberry,
right, up, left,
left,
red, left, down, down, banana,
Banana.
left, up,
up,
yellow,
Yellow.
right,
right,
Right.
down, apple,
Apple.
up,
Up.
left,
Left.
down, blue,
Blue.
left, up,
Up.
right,
Right.
blueberry,
Berry.
right,
Right.
up,
Up.
right, red,
Red.
up,
Up.
down,
left, lime,
Lime.
left, down,
Down.
left, green,
Green.
down,
Down.
up, right,
Apple.
apple, up, right, up,
Yellow.
right, left, down,
Down.
blueberry, left, left, down, red,
Down.
left,
Right.
up, lime,
Lime.
down, up,
Up.
right,
Right.
blue,
Blue.
down,
Down.
left, down, apple,
Apple.
left, down, down,
Down.
yellow,
Yellow.
left,
Right.
up,
Left. Apple.
right,
Right. Down. Red.
left,
Up.
up, banana, left, up, right, blue, up,
Up.
left,
Down.
blueberry,
Berry.
up,
Down. Left. Green. Right. Up.
Apple.
Apple.
down,
Up. Right. Red.
left, down,
Down.
left, lime.
Lime.
All right, nice job, everybody. Nice job. There's no way you could have done that when we started. You guys did great. You did great. So let's do kind of a little check-in here, and let's do our baseline again, but after we've done some training. So the baseline, if you remember, was just as fast as you can. No color, no fruit, only directions. It's a race, right? So you want to go as fast as you can. Again, try not to stop for mistakes because that's what slows most of us down. Don't stop again to be true. Short breaths, fast as you can. When I say go, I'll start the timer and let's see if there's any difference and if you notice any difference after this run.
This
Remember,
direction.
as fast as you can. It's a race, so just raise your hand when you're done. On your mark, get set, go.
Right,
Right.
Left, down, up,
Up,
up, right,
up,
down,
down,
right,
right,
down,
down,
left,
left,
down,
down,
left,
left, down, left,
right,
down,
right,
right,
down,
down,
up, right,
down,
down,
left,
right, up, left,
down, right, left,
down, down, right,
right, down,
left,
down, up,
down, up,
left, down, up, left, up,
right,
right, up,
right,
right, up, right,
down,
up,
left,
down,
down,
left,
down,
up,
right, left,
down,
right,
left, down, down, up, right, left,
down,
up,
up,
right,
left,
up,
down,
right, left, down, up, left, down, left, down, right, up, down, down, up, right, down, down, left, down, right, left, down, down, right, up, left, right, down, left, up, right, left, up, right, up, left, down, up, left, down, left, up, right, up, right, down, up, right, left, down, left, down.
Awesome, awesome. So in time-wise, the fastest, Lisa, again, but we went from 59 down to 51 seconds. And the end, instead of 114, we're down to 104. So 10 seconds faster, roughly. Oh, and you noticed it, right? You were easier to You're taking in larger chunks of information. You're going smoother. You're filtering everybody else out. That's exactly what we want to start creating when your brain is faster and more focused. But there's one more part of your brain and body you want to engage, and that's your hands for two primary reasons. One, everything we do is with our hands, right? So whether you're throwing a ball or keyboarding, driving a car, you want the longer neurons from your brain to your hands to be faster, but also the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body and vice versa. So if we can engage both sides of your brain, we can also improve right brain, left brain communication speed. So when we say these out loud and use your hands, you're using all four lobes of your brain, both hemispheres, and your memory simultaneously. And we've done EEGs of people doing these exercises, and you can just see the connections exploding throughout the brain, this constellation of connections because we're stimulating. Now, the really great thing about this and why this program is actually very helpful for people with concussions, strokes, different types of mental problems, is our brains will rewire around damage. God gave us incredible ability of our brains to change from stimulation, and we can rewire around damage. But the first step to that is engage your hands. And the way we're going to do that is do what you just did, but it's not a race. So all together, only the directions, no color, no fruit, but just tap both of your hands gently on the table in front of you or on your legs. So it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be big taps. What we want is a sensation of touch from your fingertips to hit your brain at the same time you make your decision. And both together, right? So right, left, down, up. Okay, all together like you've been doing. Nice, comfortable pace. You can go as fast as is comfortable for you guys. And then we're going to create those connections as well. Everybody ready? Okay, go for it.
Right,
Right,
left,
left, down,
down,
up,
up, up,
Up,
down,
right,
up,
up,
right,
right,
left,
down, right,
right,
up,
down,
down,
right,
left,
up,
left,
down,
down,
left,
left,
up,
down, left,
left,
down,
down, right,
right,
down,
down, right,
up,
down,
right,
up,
down,
right,
down,
down,
right,
up,
down, left,
left,
down,
down, up,
down,
right,
right,
up,
left,
right,
up,
down,
left,
up,
right, down, left. Okay, the kind of broke down here, John. We're all over the board.
All right. Let's regroup. So you wouldn't believe it, right? But using your hands actually adds a lot of cognitive load, right? So why people struggle with it, which is why we want to practice it, because just like everything else, that means if this becomes easy, it means everything you do with your hands are easy. In fact, kind of a funny story. I was training a horse trainer of all things down in Texas. And before we started, he said, John, I'm the clumsiest guy in the world. My wife keeps the coffee cups off the edge of the table because I always knock them down. So after doing your training, I walked in the kitchen. Of course, I knocked the coffee cup over. Without even looking at it, I reached over, I grabbed it and put it back on the table, and she was in shock. Because that's the kind of things that can happen when our brain is more aware and our communication with our hands is faster. So why don't we start, let's see, why don't we start at, let's start at the ninth row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The green arrow pointing up. And then, whoops, let's go to the green arrow pointing up. Halfway down the page. Let me get you guys back here. And we'll start there. So again, I'll lead you off for the first row if you want. I don't need to. You guys know what it is. The main thing is just to tap your hands when you say the arrow and try to stay together. Now, the other thing you notice is it's hard to keep in track with everybody else because you're focused on your hands, right? So we're creating a lot of tension in your brain that then it overcomes, right? So as your tension shifts from everybody else to your hands, it's a struggle, but then with practice, you'll be able to do all of it together at the same time. So let's go ahead and start with that one. You guys, everybody ready? All together with your tapping, nice, comfortable pace. And go.
up,
right,
Up,
right,
right,
left,
left, down,
down,
up,
up,
left, left, down, left,
left,
down,
down,
right,
right,
up, down,
down,
down, up,
up,
right,
right,
down,
down,
down, left,
left,
down,
down,
right, left,
left,
down, down, right, right,
up,
up, left,
left,
left, right,
right,
right, down,
down, left,
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 up,
up,
up, right, left,
left,
up,
up,
right,
right,
up, left, down,
down,
up, up,
up,
down,
down,
left, up, right,
right,
up, right, right, down,
down,
up, right,
right,
left, left,
down,
left, down.
All right, that was much better that second half, much better, right? Because your brain keeps changing. So a couple more and we'll be done. The next thing we're going to do is, you guys did so well, we got to make it a little bit harder. Okay, so again, don't worry about mistakes. What we want to do this time is the exact same thing, but this time alternate tap your hands. Now, the reason that's hard is you can't think about your hands, right? Because you might be saying right while you're tapping with your left hand. Or you might see two rights in a row and be tempted to do that. That's okay, right? That's all the tension we're creating that your brain's going to overcome. One of the concepts neuroscientists use is something called the zombie system. A zombie system, and I don't know why they got the name, maybe they used to watch horror movies or something, but basically zombies are out to kill you, but they're not thinking about it. So anytime we can take conscious thought and put it into the unconscious, it becomes much faster and more efficient. You know, example is the first time you learn to drive a car, right? It takes all your mental effort just to keep the car on the road. Now you drive a car without thinking about it because it's become a zombie system. So what we're trying to do here is create two completely different zombie systems in sync. We want your brain making decisions and your hand doing something different without your conscious having to think about it. So if we can separate those, you can be tremendously more efficient in everything that you do because you won't have to think about it as you get into the zone. So for this, same thing you guys just did, nice comfortable pace. And again, if you make a mistake, just keep going, right? Doesn't matter. So alternate tap, one tap per arrow. And you can start with either hand that you like. Everybody ready?
So no, hang on, I have a question. So we're gonna alternate tap each hand, or we're only gonna tap on every other arrow?
No, alternate tap each hand. So right, left, down, up.
Right, left, down. Okay, I got it. Okay.
You got it? You got it?
Yeah.
So no matter what arrow you're looking at, you're going to just switch to the other hand. So get a nice comfortable rhythm going with your hands.
Gotcha.
All right, and go.
Right,
left, down, up, up, right, up, down,
right, up, down, left,
left,
down, left, down, left, down, right, down, up, right, down, right, up,
left,
left, left, down, down, right,
left,
up,
up,
right, 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 down, left,
up, left, down, up, left, up, right, up,
right,
up, right, right,
up,
down, left, up,
up,
left,
down, left, down,
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 up, right, left, up, right,
right,
up, right, right, left, down,
down,
up,
up,
left,
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 down,
left, down,
right,
right,
up,
up,
down,
down,
up,
right,
right, down,
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 up,
left, down, right,
left,
left,
down,
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 right,
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 up,
left,
left, right,
right,
down,
left,
left,
up,
up,
right,
right,
Good.
left, up,
right,
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 up, up,
left,
down, up,
down,
down, left,
left,
up, right, up,
right,
right, down,
down,
right,
left,
left, down, left, down.
Nice, nice. Guys, you got a nice kind of rhythm at the end there. You think about your hands so much. That's awesome. So 2 more will be done. Same thing with your hands, alternate, but this time let's go back and make the 4th column color and the last column fruit like we did before. So give your brain something else to think about while it pushes your hands down into a zombie system. Okay, everybody ready? So direction, 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 color, direction, 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 fruit, but with your alternate tapping.
You want a what?
Yeah, the hard one you did before, but now with your hands.
I'm with Nicole. My brain hurts.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of blood flowing through your brain right now, making those changes. And you know, it's often people start yawning sometimes too, which is actually a good sign because your brain uses so much energy. Naturally, this might make you a little bit tired, so that's okay.
nap time.
Are you ready? Yeah, nap time. Yeah, exactly. Everybody ready?
1:30.
And go.
Right,
left, down,
blue,
up,
up,
yeah,
up, banana,
banana,
down,
right,
up,
green,
left,
left, down, apple,
apple,
down,
left, down, red,
down,
up,
right,
right,
blueberry,
right,
up,
left,
left, red,
left,
down,
down,
banana,
left, up, yellow,
yellow,
right,
right, down, apple, up, left, down, blue, red, up, right, blueberry, right, up, right, red, up, down, left, lime, left, down, left, green, down, up, right, oh,
apple,
up,
right, up, yellow,
right,
left, down, blueberry, left, down, red, down, red, up, down, up, right, blue, down, left, down, apple, left, down, yellow, right, up, left, apple, right, down, red, right, up, banana, left, right, blue, up, left, down, blueberry, up, down, left,
green,
right,
up,
up,
right,
apple,
apple, down,
down,
up,
up,
right,
right,
red, left,
left,
down,
left,
left, lime.
lime.
Nice job, man. There's a lot of work going on in your brain, right? But it becomes the only way you can get through it is if you start to put it unconscious, where all that work is much more efficient and you don't have to think about it. So last one we're going to do, I'll time you again. We'll do that baseline again. It's just like you did last time, right? Fast as you can, make it a race, raise your hand when you're done, but this time with your tapping. So only directions, no color, no fruit. Last time you cut, 10 seconds off your time overall. Let's see if the hands are slowing you down at all. Okay, so alternate tapping fast as you can when I say go. Everybody ready? On your mark, get set. Oh, say Natalia, I don't know if you just came back. Good.
Yeah.
So we're going to do what we did before. The baseline as fast as you can, only the directions, but this time with your alternate tapping.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and just raise your hand when you're done. Everybody ready? On your mark, get set, go.
Right,
left, down, up,
right,
right,
up, right, down, red, up, down, left, down, left, down, down, right, down, up, right, down, right, up, left, left, down, down, right, left, up,
right,
up,
right, down,
right, down, left, up, left, down, left, up, right, up,
right,
right, up, right, up, down, left, up, left, down, left, down, down, up, right, down,
red,
right,
left,
right, left, down, up, left,
right,
down, left, right, up, down, down, up, right, down, down, left, down, right, left, down, down, right, up, left, right, down, left, up, right, left, up, right, up, left, down, up, down, left, up, right, down, up, right, left, down, down.
up, down, left, right, up, right, down, up, right. Okay.
All right. So harder, right? It took a little bit longer. So Lisa, you were fastest again. You were a second faster than the very first time we did it. Obviously slower than the last time. And everybody else was a second slower than the very first time. What that means is that you, with the addition of all that extra work from your hands, you still finished where we started. And you know how much faster you got before. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to give a couple offers in a second, but when you send me your email or in the text or send me an email, I'll send you this slideshow, this deck. So you'll have these arrows that you can practice with. That last exercise you just did, as fast as you can with your alternate tapping, becomes a very powerful neuro primer that you can use anytime during the day. Before you speak, before you work, when you get up, whatever it is, that's going to give you a little bit of a mental boost. And as you know, by practicing, if you do that a couple more times, your speed is going to get down around a minute, right? So if you're down around a minute, that's only a minute out of your day that you can, that's going to actually make a huge difference in your performance throughout the day. Why am I having a problem here? Okay,
So John, I'm sorry to interrupt. So I just want to reiterate. So the minute exercise is just to go the direction of the arrow and alternate tap with your hands, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
I just lost my screen here. Sorry. So anyway, yes. So that one, and the other thing you can do, of course, is what we did with the color and the fruit, right? So you're actually mixing up those different columns. You did direction, color, direction, fruit. The next time you do that, try switching them. You'd be surprised at how it's difficult at first, but then your brain will change very quickly to be able to pick up that and actually improve your mental agility. So this is the great neuro primer. Again, I promised you fast and I promised you changes, right? You got changes fast. So basically, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, the very, very tip of the iceberg that we did. We did about 45 minutes or so. Obviously, we have a program that goes much, much beyond this, both for individuals and also for teams, where we incorporate many, many parts of your brain to make changes fast, improves teamwork, communication, and continues to improve your brain speed so you can get more done. Remember, I told you guys you're kind of like the quarterback of your life. Here's one of my favorite clients, now become a very good friend of mine, Trevor Harris. When I started work with him a couple of years ago, he was in the Canadian Football League, kind of trying to make a starting position. Now he's the top quarterback in the CFL. He's got leading the stats. He's got a better completion percentage than Brady. And so he's experiencing exactly what I want you guys to experience, right? Everything that you have to hold in your head. He says he has 17 different decisions to make when that ball is snapped. He says he doesn't have to think about any of them anymore. Where his feet are, where the linebacker is, wherever, it all goes into flow state. And that's what we want for you guys. So if you want a short assessment, kind of you can take to kind of see maybe different areas of your life that maybe you'd like to improve, put in the text or in the chat or send me an email. And then also, I'm available for a free 30-minute consultation anytime you'd like to discuss how this can help you in your life, in your family life, business life, personal life, or whatever. And then just a reminder, when you come to that conference, you'll get Lori, Louie, and myself, and we'll dive into this much deeper for several hours. And I guarantee you, at the end of that day conference, in January, you will be more productive, more proficient, and better able to produce a profit. So any questions? If you guys have any questions, please ask me before we close up here.
Yeah, we got some time, so I'd love to, open up again, unmute yourselves.
Yeah, John, I have a question.
Sure, Lee.
Yeah, so when you've gone in and worked with teams, so if I was to come in and have you come into one of my companies and do this kind of stuff, I have two questions.
Okay.
One is, how long is it before you start to see results? And what is it that you think that you've seen is the biggest result the team gets?
Well, so you'll start to experience results pretty, like even today in our little short amount of time. I mean, you're going to leave today thinking faster with better focus. And if you continue to practice this, but for teams, it's even more valuable because like you guys were doing it at the same time, when you do this together as a team, you have to start depending on everybody else. And you start to learn where everybody else thinks and where you think and where the benefits are, because we all start with a different kind of makeup of our cognitive skills, but then they become stronger together. So typically in team, and I've had CEOs tell me that his teams are learning faster and better. They're getting more done in less time. I had a CFO tell me it was the best thing ever for his emotional well-being. I've had teams tell me that they're able to get much more done in less time, which is really a big piece of that efficiency. So you can be more efficient, but if your team is doing this all together, you'd be amazed at how quickly you're going to get results. And it's fun, right? And it's a great thing. And they'll do their exercises at home with their families. They'll do them at their teams, sales teams. One of the bit of feedback I get from salespeople is because they're kind of multi-processing, they're able to make more sales with less words. So they're able to anticipate what their client's going to say or their customer and mentally prepare what they want to say in their brain so that when they want to speak, it comes out, we call it metacognition. They're actually thinking about their thinking. So it comes out very efficiently, only what they need to say, because most people say they talk too much. So it clears that up a lot.
So is this kind of like a habit? Once you've gone through this training, your brain stays there. It doesn't relapse back.
That's interesting. So the neuroscientists are telling me that these changes are permanent in your brain. But what happens is they start to become your new baseline. So I get emails all the time from people I've trained in the past. When a CFO, about every 3 or 4 months, he goes, John, I stopped practicing. I got out of the habit. I took them out again, and I got my mind back on track, sharp again. So because your brain changes and those changes are permanent, that becomes your new baseline. So the longer and the more you do this, because neuroplasticity works from repetition, the more you practice this, the more you can continue to get changes. And that's why it's really good as a team activity. One of the companies over for Hub Insurance, they did a program for their executive team a couple years ago. And they said that, you know, the first time a quarterly meeting they had, a budget meeting, the HR director sent me an email. She says, you know, normally our quarterly budget meetings last, you know, hours, and everybody hates each other when they're done. She said, we're done in 90 minutes and everybody's saying kumbaya. So come back and do more training, or a sales team, which I did. But what they did is they would actually integrate a few minutes of these exercises before every meeting. Because you know what happens in the meeting? People are calm, they're disengaged, they're thinking about home, or they're thinking about what's coming up later. They're trying to make up questions. Well, if you start with this, everybody in the meeting is engaged, they're focused, they're having fun. And so the meeting progresses much, much faster and usually ends very amicably.
And how long, John? How often should
How
we?
often? Yeah, so
do
I would
this?
definitely recommend, you know, start each day with at least the speed drill, which I call, where you go as fast as you can with your tapping, and then add some of the other patterns if you can. And you want to kind of integrate it into a regular schedule. It's like everything else, right? It's why the gyms are full in January and they're empty in March. You want to make it part of your regular routine. So, you know, and you know, again, you'll have the PowerPoint. If you want to print them out or something, you can. In fact, I recommend it. If it's printed, you're using more parts of your brain than this if it's on the screen. So print out the sheet. But, you know, when you do your coffee in the morning, you know, I have people that'll two ways to do it. One, tape it on the wall. So when you get up in the morning, you see it, you can run through a quick one. And the other way is just tape it to the front of your computer monitor. So as soon as you sit down at your computer, it's right in front of you, right? You run through a quick speed drill, flip it over the back. When you get up, flip it back in front of you. So the next time you sit down in front of your computer, because, you know, we all start to experience Zoom fog, right? We're looking. And that's actually a physical thing, because that screen is so shallow, it's not really stimulating our brain well. So if you start your Zoom meetings or Zoom times with a quick run through of even the speed,
Wow.
it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, I'm not so sure, Louie. Did he just tell us we were shallow?
Well, he wasn't looking at me when he said that, Lori.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm just teasing.
Just
So-
a screen.
John, I'm actually reading Thinking Fast and Slow.
Yes, right.
So is are these meant to engage that stage 2 brain?
Yes, in fact, actually, so he has a great model. I kind of disagree with him a little bit as far as the implementation piece. And that's why that neuroscientist said is we can actually optimize the two together, because he kind of separates the two, and he talks, you know, and it's good stuff. It's very, I mean, good research. But our goal is to make the system 2, system 1 thinking, right? So, and actually it's how our brains work, and it's how we can change habits as well. So we start consciously, you repeat them enough until it becomes unconscious. And then that's your new, in fact, at the workshop, I'll actually cover some of the ways we've discovered using neuroplasticity that you can actually change your habits. And that's a whole nother way. But again, it's all about repetition and what you want to happen and make it a zombie system. So good question though. Yeah, it's a good book.
And what was the title?
Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Yeah, she's got it right there.
It's taking me a while. I can't read much at once.
Well, and that's why I said, you know, my slide where you can read all these books, let's just do it, right? So you can read about system 1 and system 2 thinking.
Yeah.
Practice these exercises, you're gonna make that system 2, system 1 thinking, and you're gonna be more focused and thinking faster.
You know, John, it was funny as we were doing it on our own, and I was doing the beats on my hand. Like I couldn't help but get into more of a beat versus doing a race, right? So that's where I kept getting tripped up, because I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to go fast.
Well, no, that's good, but you'll find, so again, there's a massive amount of work that's going on in your brain that you're not even aware of. And that's kind of the principle, right? Here's something really simple. You know, it just is a lot of work to make that happen. And so you'll find that getting a rhythm when you do that is really nice. And then you'll be able to control your speed, because you know, if you make your rhythm faster, you'll go faster. And a very important part of that, so you'll find as you go faster with this, is that you're going to start noticing the roadblocks and then overcoming them. So the first one is stopping for mistakes. So that's why I say don't stop for mistakes. What's going to happen is you're going to increase your attention, because you'll be going along fast and you're going to be aware of the mistakes, but you're going to keep going, because you want to give yourself permission in life that if you make a mistake, are you going to take the time to fix it now? Are you going to fix it later? You're going to ignore it. And you kind of get that feeling for that. Then also, you don't want to stop at the end of each row. You want to take very short breaths. And eventually you're going to get to the point where you slur your words. So you kind of identify the roadblocks. You want to go as fast as you can. As a comparison, if you guys want something to shoot for, my daughter is actually the fastest on that. She's been doing this. She's been helping me with this for 13 years. She's 18 now. She can do that sheet with the tapping in about 11 seconds.
No.
So the reason for that is she's looking 2, 3, 4 rows ahead, right? Which is what we want in life. We always want to be anticipating what's coming before we get
Oh, so that's, I don't know if any of you guys have heard it. There's a guy in Minnesota, but he teaches speed reading basically, right? But he teaches how your brain can almost pick up an entire page. Yeah. And I've seen videos of like people literally as fast as they could turn a book, they're reading the page. Yeah. And they have comprehension and retention. So that's what we're teaching our brain to do. That's how your daughter got there, right?
Well, yeah. So you're going to see your perspective is going from one area. You already experienced it when you went faster, that instead of looking at one arrow at a time, you're taking in 3 or 4 at a time. Eventually you start to take in the whole sheet. And that's what we want. We want you sitting above everything that's happening and being able to pick out what you want to do. So an example of that, and we're creating a buffer too. So we want to be as smooth. One of the things you want to listen for is smoothness, because typically if there's a harder problem, we slow down, easier program, we speed up. But if our brain can do all that processing out here, it can release it to us very smoothly. So an example, an Olympic skier I trained a couple years ago, she said, I can ski faster without falling because I can see the snow conditions further out. Obviously the snow's the same and her eyes are the same, right? But because she's taking in so much more data faster out here, she can make the decisions back here to make the adjustments before she gets there.
And that's what we do. So doing these little exercises gives you that kind of ability in the real world. That's what you're saying, right?
Exactly right. This is the same process that we do in the real world. And then obviously it's progressive resistance, right? So what we started with today, as I said, was just the tip of the iceberg. Mm-hmm. So every time, if you go through the full program, every time we continue to make them harder, but we bring in more parts of the brain as well. So all those connections just become faster and more connected. But yeah,
and are
the same.
Are there other than visuals? I mean, do we move away from the arrows and then it becomes something else? And
yeah, so as we continue through the program, we have different variations of arrows that are harder. Some have numbers, some have different kind of things. We engage more parts. We do we get your feet involved. So if you're an athlete, it's great, but even walking on a slippery sidewalk, it's great. So we get your whole body involved. Wow. But then we actually add some other exercises that are completely different, but use the same thinking process. One is just, it's 5 plastic pieces, different shapes, and a deck of shape cards, 60 shape cards. And there's similar games out like there everywhere else. And typically when people try to solve a problem they haven't seen before, they try trial and error, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I start a class with this or a client with this, it might take them 10 minutes to do the first card. And then they might do another one, might get lucky, right? But then because they don't have any process. So I train them a very simple process to break it down and think it through in their head first before they execute. And then at the end of the training, they can do any card in the deck in 10 seconds or less. Wow. And then that applies to everything else. You got a report to write, you got a meeting, all the people become the pieces, the parts of the project become the pieces. And so your brain is figuring out the orientation, the placement, and the position of each piece in your head. So then when it comes time to execute, it just happens automatically. So, so that's the next level that we move up after the arrows exercises. And that's also actually very powerful, Louie, as a team building exercise, because once they understand how to do it, we have people take turns telling someone else how to put it together, which means they have to have a very efficient communication process, which we teach, but you have to be able to communicate in a way that the other person understands, and you have to be able to regulate it yourself, and you also have to be able to listen well when they tell you. One of the Marine colonels said it was the most effective training for his leadership group he'd ever been to, because it makes you think about what you're trying to communicate as efficiently as possible. And so the other person can process it simply and, get the job done.
Yeah. So I know we're close to time, but John, I got to say thank you. And you guys may think this is like a show, but like I said before, I've never seen John do this, and I'm fascinated. I am fascinated. It was, and your passion. Well, let me say too, John, your passion for it is just, it's contagious, and
I love it.
We'll talk offline because I want to have you come into my company.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Louie, the one time you missed, so Louie had me come speak to some high school students that were trying to learn business, right? Louie does a lot of amazing stuff for high school students. And so we had about 100 kids, I think, on the bleachers in the gym doing this. So that's the one you missed, because when you got a bunch of people in a room doing it live, it's crazy. It's really a lot of fun. Makes a big difference. But thank you, everybody. Any questions, you can always email me. I think my contact information is on the slides I'll send you. We can get it out to you. Any questions? A lot of time people ask questions about how this can help different people. As I mentioned, I'm working with people with concussions and those kind of issues as well. And that's always very rewarding as well. Learning disabilities and so forth.
Thanks, John.
So
Nicole, you want to give us
John.
details for next week?
Yeah. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Brian, Lisa, Dennis, everybody that had to go already. If you do have any questions, feel free to, we have a few emails, but you can always reach out to us. And we're just about ending our time, right? Don't hesitate to contact us. We would love for you to join us next week as we continue to flipping the switch in your business with Louie Parrish, who is our life coach and conversation strategist. So very interesting that, we kind of ended this note with the conversation. Laurie's going to discuss how to raise your conversational intelligence. So it's going to be the same time. We will have a new Zoom link that, if you guys are interested, we'll make sure that we get to you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Everybody.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Look forward to
Thanks,
seeing you next
John.
week.
See you next week. Yeah.